this point.
Okay.
And I've got a copy here, which is going to be tougher to get with this cat and his claws on my lap. So I'm going to put him for now.
All right. We'll full screen you for a second so we can.
Okay, so this is just a prototype still. So this is not final, but this is the one I had at PAX.
Do you want to know what's so funny? And my favorite story to tell people is that I spilled coffee all over that box. I spilled my coffee, but I don't know why like that was on the bottom of the shelf, and it was one of those shelves that was like kind of like a grid or whatever. I don't know what happened, but my coffee like tipped over and just like completely dumped over everything. And I don't think there's any damage to the box that I can
I don't
tell.
see any.
So
I didn't know that either.
yeah. Oh, you did it? I thought I told you at East. No, I told Gavin too. I like when I was almost in tears. I felt because I knew it was the prototype and it's the only one. Like it is literally the only one in existence right now. And I was like trying because there's no paper towels at the booth. You know what I mean? I was like trying to find shit to like wipe the box off with and like try to save it. And I was almost in tears. And I like kind of like didn't sit Gavin down, but I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I spilled coffee on Skyrise and I am so sorry. And at first he was like, "You what?" But he was just being Gavin. he didn't really he was like, "No, dude, it's fine." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I just wanted to let you know so if you ever look at the box and it's like, why is the box messed up? It's my fault." So um yeah, great. Really excited about this game. Really cool components. Hold that up. Hold that up for the stream so everyone can see the islands there.
So these are big. These are floating islands. This is a game where we are like artists and architects from history, the early 1900s approximately. Um, People like these real life figures. We use a lot of real people in our games, like Steampunk Rally as well, are all full of real inventors and scientists and things. So these are real artists. We have biographies for them in the rulebook, and they're all double-sided. So we've got like 8 different characters here that each have a certain architectural style. Fritz Lang, obviously being a film director, but he directed the movie Metropolis, which has an amazing look to it. So there is a, I don't remember his futuristic. No, futurist is the yellow, but there's brutalist, futurist, Art Deco, and another that I can't remember amongst our people. So they're all building these buildings in this floating city in the sky. So we've got these islands. I've just folded out half the board. We're going to have between 2 and 4 of them, depending on the number of players out here. And players will be building buildings on these neighborhoods. So all these are these amazing sculpts that are hopefully somewhat visible. And they're all designed to be flippable so they can stand on their heads when they are a bid. It's an auction game. So all these buildings will have numbers on the bottom. And in order to build your buildings, it's played over an auction. You have to outbid the previous bid in an adjacent neighborhood. And eventually someone's going to make a bid. Everyone else is going to pass. That building is constructed, flipped over, and now occupies this space. And that player starts the next auction. So there's going to be tokens out on the board that you're collecting. There's private and public goals that you're working towards. And we're building up this awesome looking city with these player buildings that are dual use as your bids in the auction. So it's based on like an older game called Metropolis from 2008 that a designer from Switzerland named Sebastian Pochon designed. And so we licensed that from him and worked with him a bit and then kind of ran with it using the core auction mechanism that's super clever from that original game, and then built Skyrise from that.
I really enjoy the auction mechanism in this game especially because I have other auction games that don't play well at 2 players, but I think having the movement of being able to have area control and wanting to be in certain spaces on the map really gives that auction a kind of like catalyst to keep going because the other game I have, you do auction. It's Raccoon Tycoon. I'm not going to be shy about it. It's virtually unplayable at 2 players because one person starts an auction for the railroad and it's either okay, you can have it, or the other person bids and then the first person's like, that's fine. You know, it's not really, it doesn't really feel like a true auction with just 2 people.
Yeah, auction games are not generally good with two, but
Yeah.
I usually call this a spatial auction because you're bidding over these spaces, and it works differently from most auctions because what we're bidding on is changing as it goes along. So, like, if this player is bidding on this space, the next player has to outbid into an adjacent neighborhood. So, what the next player is bidding on is this space, and if they win that, they win that one. But the next player is bidding on the adjacent spaces. So, what we're bidding on changes as we go along, which is brilliant.
Right. No, that's really cool. I did not get to play it, but I know Eldest did get to play it, and I got to watch, and it's one of those games that I really like because the style is so cool. I mean, it looks amazing. It's an incredible looking game. The color scheme and the components are all incredible. But as far as mechanics go, again, it's reminding me of Santorini, where it's very, very easy to learn mechanically. But it's that deeper strategy of, you know, where do you want to be bidding? You know, you only have so many of those bid tokens to use throughout the entire game, and also those public and private objectives, making the strategy just absolutely. I was gonna say crazy, but it's you know it's not that crazy. It's one of those games that I think looks really intimidating, but it's easy to learn, difficult to master.
Yeah, it's really elegant because you're just doing the same. If you learn how the auction works, which is really pretty simple, like I went through it there, that's all it is. You're doing auction, auction, auction over and over, but it's like it's players shifting goals and the tokens they've collected and the value they're getting from different things, and you have to anticipate what other people want and if they're going to outbid you or not, because you're anticipating the auction chain to go in this direction because you want the thing that's a little further away.
Right, and you never know if, you know, maybe you try to bid in a direction and you're on a space that you're not necessarily crazy about. Everyone could pass, and then you end up with, you know.
Yeah, you've just overspent on something you don't really want.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, so that is still on, what did you call it? It's on BackerKit.
On BackerKit,
Pre-order on the Roxley website. But yeah, it is absolutely a gorgeous game. Really fun to look at. The components are incredible. Yeah, and the modular islands is really cool too. Having the wow, my brain doesn't work anymore. It's that late afternoon, second cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's got a lot of replayability. I didn't set out all the tokens, but you draw them out from a bag, so they're all going to be different. All the islands get set out randomly around the outside, and you're using a different subset of them depending on the player count. So you're going to have different islands in play. Originally, we had them double-sided, so there was even more, so there'd be something on the underside. But
I'm going to cut you off really quick to say goodbye to Rick. We have Rick to thank for this interview. I'll call Rick my producer from here on out. He really did an amazing job setting this up, and he's the one who made that little promo picture for me. And much love to Rick. Everyone send their love to Rick. He's amazing, and I think I might have to hire him. I might have to like pay him for some of this stuff eventually, because he did a great job. I'm so sorry for cutting you off.
No.
I just had to shout out my boy Rick. Yeah. Hello.
What's going on? Focus.
There we go. Yes, Rick's great. Rick is great. Rick. He's a great friend. We've had some really good times.
What was I saying? Something about.
The double-sided game boards was the last thing my
Oh yeah,
brain
yeah.
comprehended.
So I had designed a second side for each of the boards, so there was even more options out there. But we found there was so much replayability with the four boards that it would be better to be able to give it even more table presence and have it kind of like rose up. You can see like those edges of 3D printed in this prototype, how it rises up from the table, and making choosing that choice for the table presence rather than even more options to flip the boards over. We decided on the table presence.
Yeah, no, I think it was a great choice. Because of the randomization of the tokens that you're putting in the spaces too, it's almost unnecessary to have that many options for the actual board. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and there is a retail version of Skyrise as well. I don't have a copy here, but it's like wooden blocks for the buildings. So they look more like just a rectangular skyscraper, but it plays the exact same, slightly lower price point. But that would be the version that you'd see in stores. Our cat's doing things on your
Yeah,
screen.
she knocked my other webcam over onto her own face and got scared, so she's gone. Don't have to worry about her anymore. Just kidding. Looks like she's coming back. Hi. You can sit in this drawer. Sometimes I have just an empty drawer over here that's just my Bonnie drawer that I pull out for her to just like sit in. But we're fine. Everything's
Yeah,
fine.
there's a retail version as well, so but it's also beautiful. And that's the version, if you don't order directly from Roxley, that's the version you'd see out in the wild, probably.
Okay. So that's kind of going to be your like retail, not super awesome Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Play Heckle, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I forgot that my follow alert is my friend Kay saying hi bitch, it's me. So very appropriate for our very professional interview. Yes, very good. So I kind of want to go back really quick and talk about the Santorini Kickstarter a little more.
Sure.
Because like wow. Like because how crazy is it? We're gonna go back to that really quick and take a look at the project goal, which was $73,833, right? And the pledge goal the actual pledge number that is over $1 million. How? Why?
So,
What did you do? Like what kind of Roxley magic?
I think the biggest reason for doing so well, it's a beloved game that we've talked about doing a Pantheon edition for a long time. That being the original content of about 30, 40 gods, I guess, with the Golden Fleece expansion. I don't remember exactly how many there were. In addition, over the years, we had made some promo gods and released them online and sometimes printed them and given them out at conventions or sold them in little packs. But there was like a number of gods throughout the years, but we've always talked about doing a version once we had the rights back, this huge Pantheon edition with 100 gods, game people love. Spin Master's version was the cards weren't quite as nice as the Roxley cards and stuff like that. So the vast majority of the games that are out there are Spin Master copies. So we wanted to have a super nice Roxley version again as well.
Very Roxley of you to just be like, let's have the best things.
Yeah.
And so humble. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
And yeah, no, I own it.
No, talk it up.
We're proud of what we make.
And you should be. It's all incredible. It's all really just, I can't wait to see this board in person because I've only played it online. So when I fully back this in about 2 hours when I end stream, looking forward to seeing my copy because I actually don't own Santorini. I don't own
Oh,
the
yeah.
original. Yeah, no.
It's the
Um,
perfect time to get in on it then,
yeah,
because we also have a pledge level for people because it sold 450,000 copies over its lifetime so far. So there's a lot of copies out there and a lot of people that have it. So we have an upgrade level where people can bring your own plastic basically. So you get all the new god cards, all the components you need, but you use your existing buildings and island piece and stuff like that for a more affordable version. So people could choose to not rebuy everything if they didn't want to.
right. I mean, I know plenty of people who would just rebuy everything, but having that option is amazing. And also being able to just purchase the expansion separately through the Kickstarter as well, I think is a really good move for you guys.
Hmm.
Considering that so many people already own and play this game.
Yeah. And the goal itself is a weird number because of the conversion to American dollars there. We're a Canadian company, so our goal was 100,000 Canadian. But in America bucks, it's 73,000 or whatever.
Yes, burger bucks.
So we are at 1.4 million.
Yeah, it just broke 1 million here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you broke 1 million Canadian last week, I think.
Yeah.
Which
A million was
is
old news last week.
yeah, well, not here. Not here. Obviously, news travels slow from the Canada to the U.S. So,
Mhm.
um, we talked a little bit about Skyrise. Do you want to talk about Rainbow Boulevard
Yeah.
and your plans for Rainbow Boulevard?
Yep. So I will grab this to show it a little bit, but it's
I didn't know
still,
you had like a physical anything of it, so that's exciting.
yeah. So this is a game I designed years ago, and it's crazy how fast time flies. Like it won a design award at a convention that I remember being really recent, but that was 2017. So it won an award 6 years ago. I signed it with a new publisher, a friend of mine. It's not officially announced. It kind of is officially announced because it has a BGG page, but
Okay.
um, it's a game about building rainbows in the Rainbow Factory. So originally, players in my original game was much darker than what it's become, much more dark
Right, like
and
the Mask of the Red Death, you kind of have a
yeah,
theme.
yeah. And Paul always said when playtesting with Paul that there's this theme mechanics disconnect because we're building these beautiful rainbows in the 6 colors the rainbow arcs come in. But we are low paid, downtrodden government leprechauns working in the Rainbow Factory for 12 hours a day and maybe getting a coffee break unless someone steals your coffee break. And there's like a black market where you go and do shady deals to get these black rainbow pieces. Um, it's all about the corruption of the rainbow industry.
Oh yeah, it's
So
very the um the villain is capitalism always, isn't it?
yeah, you're completing bribe cards and job cards.
So
So
is
the
this
job
how it exists now, or did you change it to be happier?
it changed now. So
Right, I was gonna say before you go too much and give people the wrong idea.
yeah, it's much more family friendly and marketable now. But like
I mean,
people
maybe
aren't.
there's something there for another, maybe you do something that's not rainbow related and do the same idea, but
Mhm. I don't think people are clamoring for these to play a little dirty leprechaun who's
a
just
depressing
depressed
capitalism
and tired.
game. Monopoly already exists, so we don't have to we don't need another.
Yeah, so you're completing jobs that you get from the factory each day, which are simple, low value things, but if you don't do them, you get punished. And bribes, which are where you're going to make most of your pots of gold by bribing the companies that produce the materials that rainbows are made out of. So you're trying to manipulate the stock market basically as you build rainbow pieces. If you build a yellow piece, the value of yellow goes up on the market. So you want things to align in certain ways to bribe the companies and score your goals. So
Very
that
cool.
has been much sanitized and family friendlyized into we are like anthropomorphic animals working in this friendly, happy town called something, but it's got a very, very adorable,
Oh,
cutesy
I can
board.
tell you the name of the town actually.
Oh, is it in the description?
It's Hopewell Springs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
All the
Um
character designs and the art is amazing and beautiful.
yeah, there's
But
no pictures of the art or the character design on Board Game Geek yet, which is good. I like
mhm,
the air of mystery. It's good.
yeah,
It's so funny because you said anthropomorphic animals, and immediately my brain was like, "Ooh, furries!" And I was like, "No, no, Zootopia, not furries, Zootopia." Just like not
yeah, it's got Zootopia vibes for sure.
good.
But I think it is, as far as mechanics wise, it's the game I'm most proud of that I've done entirely by myself for sure. It's the most. I do a lot of party games, as you saw from Guerrilla Marketing and Poetry Slam and stuff. But this is not heavy, but it's like mid-weight, accessible Euro kind of.
Yeah, like
Very.
a definite step up from a party, but nothing like crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's been a long road to publication. I mentioned I kind of had it like signed via handshake agreement for many years after showing it off at Origins 2016, which is a board game convention. Um, and it's been coming along. It's with a new publisher, so there's a lot of work in him getting that all set up and changes in his life and delays due to different things and art and everything. And um, I've since developed like a 5-player expansion mode and things like that. So I have been working on it a little bit, but the core game has been done for quite a while. So it's probably not like on my BGG page, it says 2023 release. It's going to be early, like first quarter 2024 Kickstarter is the idea, I think. So
Nice.
I'm pumped for that to become a thing.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
I,
Sounds
I
like
was gonna. I don't need to show too much of this, but these are my prototype rainbow pieces. Your
yeah. I think I've seen
rainbow
a
art.
picture of them because they stack like really nicely on top of each other when you're actually
Yeah.
like building those rainbows. Does the order of colors have anything to do with like fulfilling orders and stuff like that? Is it
Not really for the jobs. Yes. Let me grab one of those. There are. Here they are. There'll be like cards that say that want a small yellow piece next to a small green piece,
okay?
or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I
Anywhere
was
on the
thinking.
board. And so across all these rainbows, other people might be blocking you, or they might kind of be doing your work for you in a way. As long as this gets done, great. So
Right.
you
So
can,
so if someone else does that, you can be like, okay, this is completed.
yeah,
Like even though you didn't do it yourself, but it got done. So that's really cool.
and you can score your cards on any player's turn. So it's kind of a game that you are encouraged to pay attention on other people's turns because the stock market will be changing. And if all of a sudden, let's see the top card I have here, red equals yellow on the stock market, if that happens on someone else's turn, I can score my card. So
Very
you're
cool.
kind of engaged all the time.
I love that. Um, it's reminding me of there's another game that plays like that. Not exactly, not even close, but I don't know if you've heard of Wild Serengeti.
No.
It's a documentary, like a wildlife documentary filmmaking game where you're a documentary filmmaker and you're trying to it's a worker placement, and I would say it's mostly worker placement. But you get to place animal meeples onto a board, and they have to be in like the right area and next to like the right animals in order for you to complete your scenes.
Oh yeah.
So
There it
yeah,
is.
that's what's reminding me of that, and I really enjoy that game. So that's really cool. And I think
Mhm.
that's something that I struggle with because I had an idea for a board game. We're talking about me for a little bit here. This is my
Yeah.
stream. You're in my house. No, I'm just kidding. I had one of those late night ideas. Like I was in bed, it was like 2 a.m. and it like a light bulb went off, and I just wrote like I wrote like paragraphs of like, oh my god, I want to make a game, and here are all the things that I want it to do, and this is what I want it to be like. And then like the next day reading it back, and this is something I struggle with, and I don't know if you've ever felt this way too when designing a game, and I even felt bad saying, oh yeah, that's like this other game, but I feel that way a lot when trying to design a game and come up with something unique, but also something that people will be able to grasp conceptually. Is, you know, going through the rules and mechanics, and it's like, oh, this is like that game, and this is like that other game, and oh, this, you know, components from other games, and trying to put them together in a new way. I just feel like that happens so often,
Totally.
where like even just now with me bringing up Wild Serengeti, where I'm like, oh yeah, that's just like this other game. And
Hmm.
for me, when I was kind of playing around with my board game idea, it was kind of demoralizing to be like, oh, I guess my great original idea wasn't that great and original after all.
Very few ideas are totally unique and stand alone on their own. I think nearly all design and art iterates on what's come before and is influenced by the things that have come before. So even if you start with something
Interesting
that's
batting
really
call.
close to something else, it's going to evolve away from that. And you can be inspired by something. Even this Rainbow game, I didn't mention it's a time track game. So I was inspired by Patchwork, if you've ever played that.
Yes.
Your actions are taking up a certain amount of time, and whoever is furthest back on the time track is next to act. And if they do a short action and they remain furthest back on the track, they're next to act again. So you can chain a bunch of actions together. So I felt it really fit this theme really well because we're coming in, we're clocking in to the Rainbow Factory at a certain time. And if you do a big task, dropping a big rainbow piece that's really going to skew the market, you're spending a lot of time doing that work. So you're moving up the track a long ways, and other players might be able to do a whole bunch of stuff before it's your turn again.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. It's a great mechanic, and there's so many mechanics that already exist that it just makes sense to include those in other games. Like even like the market mechanic too. Again, bringing up Raccoon Tycoon, because it is Raccoon Tycoon's actually one of my favorite games. But they have a market where you're producing and selling materials, selling or spending materials depending on what you're trying to do, and having that market value, you know, go up or down can really affect the gameplay. And I think that's a really cool mechanic to include.
Hmm. Yeah, so if you go back to your game design, don't be dismayed by something being like something else, because I
It's
think
been
most.
so long. Like now that we're talking, I'm like thinking about it again. Um, I don't even know if I still have it or if I deleted it in a fit of rage of just like, this will never work. Um, do I have it? Yeah, I do. I do. January 1st, 2021 was when I wrote this. And now I'm reading it and I'm like, honestly, might not be a bad idea. I even have like I had some like pieces that I had designed to come up with a prototype. Um but yeah, obviously like I'm not going to actually show the text, but this is what I wrote when I was coming up
Right.
with it. So I have a very, you know, I have a good foundation, but I just
Yeah. The biggest thing, if you are starting a game design, that I always say, because I've talked at church groups and elementary schools and stuff, teaching kids how to design games as an expert, whatever level of expert I am. Um,
more expert than me, so you're doing great.
it's important just to get something on the table, even if it's just like a partial little bit of a game or a partial bit of a mechanic, so you can start moving things around. That's how Rainbow Boulevard evolved. A designer brought a bunch of pieces in a big box and was like, "Does anyone want any of this crap?" So I just started. Other people were playing a game, and I'm just like playing with these little rainbow blocks, and they inspired the game from there. Just moving stuff around on the table. Maybe if you have a game that you imagine it being like 120 cards or something, design like 12 cards and shuffle them and play them and have 2 players with cards in hand and just like start doing stuff, make a minimum viable prototype as early as possible.
Yeah, no, and I did want this to be tile based, and I have tiles that I were like really cheap, and they're actually right behind me. I keep them right here. Let's see. I'm gonna grab them somehow.
My prototype shelves are ridiculous. The amount of dice and cardboard and cards and all kinds of things. I would go to the dollar store and grab anything shiny, or there's like little acrylic ghosts. I need these ghosts because one time I'm probably going to design a ghost game.
So I had these already for like modular like tile board, and then I had all of these little pieces for that were going to be double-sided for upgrades for the pieces that I had planned. And yeah, I started drawing it out, and I started kind of drawing a little board because it was going to be part worker placement, part resource management, and obviously some like victory point objective type things that are all very, very common mechanics, but I was trying to put them together in a fun thematic way that would I don't know, make for a fun game. But of course my idea in its inception was kind of medieval, you know, Carcassonne-esque idea that is really, there's that fine line between like overdone and played out or familiar and like easy to grasp, if that makes sense, where it's like, okay, if I do like a king's castle, dragons and goblins and stuff like that, it's something that's familiar to people and easy, you know, like I said, easy to grasp, but at the same time it's also overdone and really common and doesn't actually set the game apart from any other games of that type, if that makes sense. So
Yep.
I think that's what I got kind of hung up on in the end, was like, what theme could I make this? And then you have games like Herbaceous and Floriferous, which are both by the same company, the name escapes me now, of just like, oh yeah, you can do bees, you can do flowers, you can do literally anything. Is it Birdwood has Dog Park, and they're coming out with another dog-based game that I think is really cool.
I played Boop on the weekend, which is
Yes.
a game of cats on the bed, and it's
so cute.
It's so, like, it was originally, I think, before Smirk and Dagger took it, a very abstract game of kind of like checkers on a board and moving other checkers around. And when they added the cute cat theme, it became something that I could actually play with other people and would want to take out and be like, check this out, they're so adorable.
It's a very cute
but
game.
It plays very much like Santorini does in a way. So I just destroyed a couple people because I'm good at that kind of spatial.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't have been able to get my wife to play it necessarily
if it wasn't cats, if it wasn't like, look how cute. Because it is a very cute game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's it for tonight, folks. See you. No, I'm just kidding. It's just like pause. I'm out of questions. I do have one last question for you, and it's about your Roxley icon. And then I do have those questions from Cass that I saved. I don't know if Cass is still here. But they were very good questions. Why is your Roxley icon a beaver?
So when we were first choosing, when we get on board, we choose an avatar as long as it's not been chosen before. So I was thinking, obviously Canadian beaver is iconic of Canada. In my description on my bio, I say I'm a semi-nocturnal, semi-aquatic, large rodent or something like that.
Is it large rodent? I can pull it up. It says you're large, primarily nocturnal, semi-aquatic game designer.
Okay.
So they do not call you a rodent, but if you'd like to refer to yourself as such, I don't shame.
No, that's probably wrong. They're probably like ursine family animals. But anyway, beavers prepare for the winter. They are very hardworking. They take care of their families, and I figured as the logistics guy, kind of like um, helping to organize things and prepare for winter.
And
It
being
was
a busy beaver, apparently.
yeah,
Yes. Always very, very busy.
and
Oh, go ahead.
and when I was a kid, I was in beavers and cubs in the scouts. So I was a beaver for 3 years.
I don't think we have beavers in the like Boy Scouts, Cub
No,
Scouts in the US. No, I don't think so. That sounds
maybe
very
not.
Canadian.
Yeah, it's like three years of beavers, and then you're a cub. So that's all like wolf themed, and then scouts, and then after that, adventurers, I think. But I just did beavers and cubs as a kid.
Canada's a weird place, man. No, just kidding. No, because I know we have Cub Scouts. I think for us, I think it goes Cub Scout, Bear Scout, Eagle Scout here. I think I don't know. I was never in the Boy Scouts. I was a Girl Scout, and we were daisies, brownies, and daisies, and juniors, and nothing made sense. It was just a mess. But yeah, actually, my friend, the swim team, is here in chat right now, and he had a question for you that I did actually put on our interview questions. Because he has a board game, and it's complete. Everything's done. They have all the copyright. What did he said? All the rules, the trademark, copyright, business name, LLC, etc. Everything is done. They just need a manufacturer for the physical product. So, do you have any recommendations for either how to find a manufacturer for the game, or obviously you have connections. I don't know if you feel so inclined to share some connections with us. If you know,
Yeah, definitely. I have more connections in manufacturers than I can use. When you're working for Roxy, you get friend requests and LinkedIn requests constantly from manufacturers, mostly from China, but all over. So there's a lot of people that want to work with us, and there's only so many we can use. But we have lots of reliable partners. We use a bunch of different manufacturers, and uh, we can get connected off stream for specific ones and
right? If you
specific
wanna
items.
DM them to me and I can send them along to him, or if you want me to just put you in contact with him directly, that is, if you're
Yeah,
comfortable with that, that's something we can
that
do
would
for
be
sure.
great.
Yeah.
Um, really, and I'm not sure what level, how far down the rabbit hole he's gone. When I was going into game design, there's really the two main options. Are you going to crowdfund and manufacture this yourself? And if you're manufacturing it yourself, or do you have your own capital up front that you're going to be paying for all this manufacturing and freight and fulfillment and all those other costs? Um, or are you crowdfunding it, and then that's a whole other set of tasks and things, the marketing and the art, because you're not going to fund if you don't have the proper art and things. But that whole side of it, that whole stream, is you're really starting a business. And that was too intimidating for me on my own, which is why I signed my games with other publishers, so that you lose a bit of control potentially. They can retheme things, change mechanics. They've signed the rights for your game, so they obviously like it and they like the core, but they have control over whatever they'd like to change, and that differs from contract to contract or whatever. And it's basically like signing a book contract as an author with a publisher, in a way that you get royalties off every copy sold normally, and sometimes an advance up front and things like that. So that was the route that I much preferred to take, rather than starting my own business and doing the whole manufacturing thing. Now I'm in it with Roxley for a long time, so I've seen both sides of it and everything. And I would personally still choose the signing with a publisher rather than starting my own business. But that is just my personality and what level of depth I want to get into for the making board games thing. I just wanted to be the design side rather than the business side.
Right, right. And that's the thing with crowdfunding. Some team, I don't know if you're familiar with Kickstarter, but Kickstarter is where, it's GoFundMe for board games basically. Perfect. I figured you would be. But yeah, if you were to kickstart it yourself, I feel like that is I feel like if anyone could do it, swim team is more than capable. Um, but ideally, it depends on how much time you want to put into that. How much time and effort you have to try to crowdfund yourself versus getting it in with the publisher and just kind of taking a back seat. But then also risking the game, if you think the game's perfect as it is and you don't want to change it, then it sounds like going in with the publisher could be risky, or it could be beneficial. They could have ideas to improve the game and make it more popular in a way that maybe you couldn't have on your own, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And I saw he mentioned on demand. That's another option that I didn't exactly touch on either. Sites like the Game Crafter would be an on-demand site where you can create your game using their tools and components, and they will manufacture one-off copies, as many as you sell through their site. So they take a percentage of your sales, but you're still getting the vast majority of it, and it allows you to sell copies on demand, kind of like a t-shirt printing site.
I was gonna say like Printify or Shopify, Printify for games, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know
so
that
I've used
existed.
them before, years ago, for just printing my boards or whatever. So I have a nice quality board as just components of my game, and just make one copy for myself. So I've got cards on good cardstock or whatever too. So that's another way of going.
Very cool. Lot of options. That's awesome. Very good.
If you're working with a manufacturer in China, you're usually having to deal with minimum quantities as well, which is obviously very tough they won't print less than, often it's 1,000 copies or 500 copies sometimes. And if you're just starting out and you don't have a community following or 1,000 people that are going to buy your game right away, then it's a big investment up front.
Yeah. I need to kick my friend in the rear because he's got an awesome card game that he was working on, and I don't think he kept doing it. I thought it was it was like a Tableau-based like card game, and we played it a couple times, and it played really well. And then he was like, "Eh," and I was like, "Just do it." I'll see if I can I'll see if I can get him to do it, but
it's hard to keep up the motivation sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I just said it myself that I had this whole idea, and I just kind of kicked it to the side when I was like, the theme's not there, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, like if you look at my BGG bio there, it's all from 2016 through 2019 for the most part. I don't spend much free time anymore designing games very much. I found it really hard to motivate lately outside of work hours when I'm working in board games all the time. I'm not always designing games throughout the day, often not, but it's still hard to spend extra time doing it. And I want to so bad. I want to come up with more games, but it's just been a slog for me a little bit lately, and that can happen.
Related but unrelated. That's how I feel at conventions a lot of the time, when we spend all day at the booth talking about, board games and talking about, just talking about games with people in general all day, every day. And then we get back to the hotel after and everyone's like, who wants to play a game? And I'm like, okay, can we just like for 5 minutes not talk about games? Just for like 5 to 10 minutes. Can we just like not, because we've been doing that a lot lately, and I'm not exactly complaining, but also Elda said yes. Yeah,
it's good to have some downtime. And like the convention I was at last week was at Niagara Falls, so walked across the border to the Canada side, saw the falls, went up, had lunch, going for runs and stuff in the morning. I like to not just hardcore at the game table the entire day, because it's fun in a way, but it can also wear you out.
Yeah, that's where I get in trouble at cons, because I spend all day at the booth and then complain about spending all day at the booth when I did it to myself.
Yeah, I'm notorious. Not as bad as Aaron and some other people, but I used to be bad for just not taking breaks and just going morning till night, and it's not sustainable if you want to be in a good mood at night, right, or enthusiastic about your games. Yeah, you just got your pitch on lock and you're just repeating it forever.
Yeah, Skola said I definitely designed a super basic game to play with my siblings like 15 years ago, a super basic version of Gwent for The Witcher, which is honestly like do it. Like I think Gwent is too hard for me, so I would love to play a basic version of that because I do because isn't Gwent kind of like Marvel Snap or like those other like Hearthstone kind of like game where
I
it's
haven't
like
played it, but my wife has, so I've seen
okay.
it played. It looks like that to me, but
Yeah, that's the idea I get, and it's so hard for me because I want to like those games, like I really do. Like they seem like they would be really fun, but of course I get analysis paralysis a lot with games where I too many choices and too many different like well if I do this then on my next turn I can do that but if I do this and then they do this other thing that I know they can do like you know what I mean and I just feel like I those types of card games are not yeah, Kay said I never understood Gwent. I same thing with Hearthstone. Like I really want to like games like that, but then I start doing bad and I get really frustrated. So we're talking about something else before. Oh, I wanted to go back. I don't know if Cass is still here. Cass, are you still here? Cass had some really good questions for you that I saved from the beginning of chat. Um what are some of your favorite board games? And I think this was something I was going to ask you anyway. I don't think I said of the games you've created or worked on, do you have a favorite? But like of every board game ever, and I guess it can be a Roxley game and it can be your game. Actually no, it can't be your game. I would say out of every game ever, what is your favorite board game? Or like give me a top 3 if you can't narrow it down.
Top 3 is easier because it really depends on your mood and the group you have and stuff like that, of course. Kind of like music, what kind of mood you in as well. So one of my top games for sure lately has been Great Western Trail, especially with the expansion. Me and Gavin and James on the Rocket League team have been playing on Board Game Arena a lot.
I was gonna say, weren't you playing on your phone at PAX?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got like the little board on his phone and he's like
yeah, zooming in, moving some cows.
Yeah. And then you were like, oh, it's Gavin's turn. And I was like, okay.
It's a brilliant game. I think we played like 16 or 17 times now, and all our records are super close. So it's really competitive between us. I was on a bit of a big losing streak for a while, but I finally won a game recently, so I'm back into it.
Okay, so Great Western Trail, is that what that one's
Great Western Trail is amazing. I love okay, I mentioned Space Alert. That's still one of my favorite games of all time. I would love to be able to play that more than I do. The tricky thing with it, I mentioned the way we played it was every week the 4 of us would play it and we would be working together and getting better and better together. It's hard when you have a new person joining a group of experienced people because you have one person that doesn't know what they're doing and it's a real-time panic game,
right?
And they're useless. So, it's tough to bring a new person in, so it's I don't get it to the table as much as I'd like. But as I played more and more, I like heavier games more often. Like Underwater Cities is a really good one that I've loved recently.
I'm looking that up because I've never heard of it.
You're building a underwater city.
Yeah.
You've got like these little dome
I would
cities.
hope so, if that's the name of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really good. I've played Nemesis a lot. Very different type of game, but that's like basically themed around similar to the movie Alien. You wake up in a cryogenic pod and there's like aliens on the ship and you have to do certain objectives and you can play it semi-cooperatively, so you can kind of throw a grenade into your friend's room and slam the door and get into the escape pod while they deal with the queen and the burning room on the other side. Because sometimes your goals are like, you must be the only player to survive, or you want player 2 to die, things like that.
That's crazy. I didn't know that because I've seen Nemesis a lot and it looks like a really cool game. The only thing that has stopped me from purchasing Nemesis for myself is the price.
It's very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I played it a lot, and it's very hard to win. I win maybe 1/10 of the time. It's more about like the narrative that gets created, and like it's almost like D&D, which I've tried but I've never really got into. But you end up with a story of your characters and what happened and all the cool moments when you're like punching this little alien to death and tossing it aside, and uh, it just feels like you're in it, and over 4 hours or however long you end up playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to play D&D?
I would maybe give it another chance, but I I don't think it's my thing. I like
That's fine.
I thought I would, because I wanted to be like an author when I was young, and so I'm into the storytelling, and like with Poetry Slam, I love wordplay and word games and coming up with a narrative and things, but it didn't really click with me that much. I wanted the structured side to be more structured as far as like damage numbers and uh,
It really
things being
depends on your DM, I think. It really depends on who's running the game, especially because I've played in a couple different campaigns and I also DM, and I've played with very like how would I like structured, very very structured, very numbered based, very like, okay, you have 30 feet of movement and you're 35 feet from this person, and like very like, okay, we have the battle map, each square is 5 feet, and every, you know what I mean. And then I've also played like in Cow's campaign, Pathfinder. It's very theater of the mind, and very much like, okay, he's weaving the story and telling us, and we're just describing what we're doing, and we typically don't have an accurate map of like exactly where we are, so it's very different in that aspect. So it really, I think it does depend on who's running the game for you, and finding that perfect balance too of like story and combat, if that makes sense. Because like when I run games, I like to run modules that are pre-written pretty much, and they basically give you everything. This is where they go, this is what they do. However, I do still like to have my players write me a backstory for their characters, so that I can weave in, you basically use the module as like more of a guideline than playing straight out of the book, but like taking scenarios and then adding and subtracting from them in a way that gets my players engaged and brings their character's backstory into the pre-written Wizards of the Coast module. But enough about me.
No, it sounds good, and it sounds like on paper it's like a thing I should like.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I get that. I feel that way about a lot of games too, though. I'm like trying to think of some games that where it's like, oh yeah, I like hear about the description of it and I feel like I should love it, but then I like sit down to play it and I don't know. I just played Everdell recently with my friend, but it was my copy of the game, and we opened it up. I was still in shrink. We opened it up, we punched everything, we set it up. He set up the game for me and was basically like, okay, this is what you do on your turn, and we played through a whole game, and I had a lot of fun. I think I won by 1 point, which is normally what we do when I play with this friend. Like, I will always win or lose by 1 point, which is really great. So I did really good for my first time. But if I sat down right now with someone who's never played Everdell, I could not explain the game to them. And that's like,
I've only played once. Also, I kickstarted the big box version, and it didn't, like, it would come back to me pretty fast. I'm usually pretty good at teaching games. I'm the teacher in my group. I don't mind learning it from the rules and stuff like that, but I would definitely need a refresher on Everdell.
yeah, I've definitely gotten better at teaching games over the years. I think one of my toxic traits is like thinking that everybody should just understand things that I already know about like playing board games, where I'm just like, oh yeah, it's just, if I say the words worker placement to like any one of my friends, they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, oh, okay, like, okay, I gotta reel it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Those board game terms are super useful when you're talking to other board gamers.
Mm-hmm. It's like another language. I have so much fun. I have so much fun, like, after we play a game and then talking to, like, Manny about, I think we were playing, I'm not going to talk about one of his games because I am not allowed to, but we were playtesting one of his games. And after we had played it, we were brainstorming, and this was like one of my favorite memories. I think this was at PAX Unplugged 2021 again. And we were brainstorming different rules and basically like formulating rule book sentences. You know what I mean? Like those like silly like, oh, if this then that for, a certain card, or, just, I mean, that was a horrible example, but just like I'm trying not to like use the exact game rules as, because it's hush hush, super secret.
One of the things that I've found as a board game designer, once your game comes out, it is so agonizing to watch a review of your game and they didn't really like it or something, and you're like, you played it wrong, you played this wrong, and you played this wrong, and you did that wrong, but you can't say anything to them because it's just a video on the internet. It's like, it's painful.
I was trying to learn a game actually that I had, and I went to watch a video by a very well-known, well-respected board game person. I'm not going to name names. And literally it's like one of the first rules in the rule book, and I don't know if this person just skipped over it, but was doing like this crazy thing and like just like gaining points and gaining points and gaining points. And it's literally like he was not following the rules. It was against the rules to do what he was doing. And I was like, damn, like I was really hoping that this guy would show us how to play the game, but reading the rule book that came with the game and this person's description of how he's playing the game, he's just straight up wrong. And this person has, actually, I kind of want to look up how many subscribers this person has on YouTube. Let's see. Is this it? I think it is.
Hey everybody.
Oh, spoilers. 321,000 subscribers. And was doing a like how to play this game and was wrong. So like,
honestly, the first probably 5 to 8 times I played and taught Great Western Trail, there was at least something that I got wrong. So
I was
it was amazing
demoing Radlands, and there was no one to demo with this person, and I sat down to play the game with them, and I like absolutely annihilated them. And then I went to like demo, like do the pitch table for Radlands, and I was pitching it, and they were asking me these questions, and I was answering them correctly, but then realizing that I had played it wrong when I was teaching this other person, and I was like, oh my god, I completely cheated the whole time. Like I was doing one of the card like texts wrong. It was like a they choose and I was choosing, if that makes sense. It's one of the
the Raiders probably.
Yeah, I think it was the Raiders, and I was throwing Raiders out all the time, so I was using it a lot, and I was playing it wrong the whole time, and I was like, oh my god, I am an ass. I completely, and I think there was something else too that I probably like, I taught it wrong but it was just this one person, and I was just like, oh, like I feel like I had the same experience with Radlands though, where when I first learned it, like I really didn't get it, and it can really make or break, how people view a game. And yeah.
Everyone's tastes are different too. I mentioned when I was talking about Mask of the Red Death a couple hours ago now, I mentioned you get rumors throughout the night as you're leading up to midnight to figure out where the Red Death is going to be. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I love about it is that you don't always get to keep the rumor card. Sometimes you're just looking at a card, or looking at a card from someone's hand, or one of the Red Death cards or something. So there's a little bit of a memory element to the game, which stresses some people out, and it is not everyone's favorite thing. It's not the core of the game, but it's part of it, because the biggest part of the game is the feeling of dread, not knowing if you're going to survive, and you have imperfect information. And even the information that you've seen, sometimes you're remembering it slightly wrong. Did I see a purple card at 12:40 or was that at 12:30? Whether that's a safe room or not. And so like it's got such a great conclusion to the game because you're just like, you're stressed out whether you're going to die or not. And it's partially due to the memory element. And people will say on Board Game Geek, like, oh yeah, it was, we played it with where you could write down information or like record information in your phone. And I'm always like, that's fine. You can do that. But you won't get the same experience.
Yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of that mechanic of like having to remember it and having it be,
Yeah. It's about
a mechanic of the game.
Being stressed out.
Yeah. My friend Skolos had mentioned that the space game that you were talking about made him think of The Last Defense, which is also a timed live with an app that plays events. So that's a new one for me. It looks pretty cool. It's a Funko game. I don't know why I've never heard of it. Because Funko's always at the cons. I don't know why I've never heard or seen this one. That's wild. I have a biased opinion about Funko games. So do you like it, Skolos? Skolos, are you still here? Do you enjoy Last Defense? Spawn loves it. That's how I feel about 5 Minute Marvel and 5 Minute Dungeon. Which one do I have? I think I have 5 Minute Marvel. Another game that I played horribly wrong the first time I tried to teach Gus how to play it. And then I was like, no, wait, because we were just like flipping cards and being crazy. But yeah, I was not playing that game correctly.
That's common.
Yeah, 3-person minimum games are hard too. I have a hard time doing 3-person minimum games because I either have 2 people or 5 people, and there's no in between. But yeah, I think a lot of Funko games are targeted for a younger audience, if that makes sense.
I haven't actually played any Funko games before.
I'm looking up the list of Funko games right now because I don't know. Okay, so they are doing the Jurassic World, the Legacy of Isla Nublar game. They obviously they have the Disney IP, so they have the Haunted Mansion game. They do so I do actually own the Goofy Movie game because I got it at Gen Con and I got it signed by Bill Farmer and what's his face, Marsden, Max and Goofy. Oh, they do a lot of games that I didn't know they did. They do the Goonies game. I actually have a funny story about that. E.T. Big Thunder Mountain, which is another Disney ride that they made a board game of. Back to the Future. Oh, I didn't know they... Oh, I did know they did Something Wild. I actually have Something Wild. Have you ever played a Something Wild game?
No.
I have the Mickey and Friends one, and it's actually kind of fun. It feels kind of like Uno with the cards, but it was a really quick game. They sell it for $8. You can get it at Walgreens. And for what it is, it's a really fun little game. I played it with Gus, and it was pretty good.
We don't have Walgreens in Canada.
Do you have CVS?
Nope.
What do you have?
We got like Rexall, Shoppers Drug Mart.
I'm sorry. I didn't think it would make me laugh that hard, but it just like when you say Canadian things to me, it just makes me laugh because it's like it really is like, I don't think of Canada being that different. But then you say stuff like that and it's like you're speaking a different language. You're just speaking Canadian to me now.
Yep.
Sorry, I did not mean to laugh that hard. What did you say? Rexalls?
Rexall, yeah. Rexall.
Okay. Never heard of it, but
I thought that was an American. I thought that came from the US, but I guess not. I never know.
Maybe. There's a I'm going to the Wikipedia now. It says it was a chain of American drugstores. Boston, so East Coast. Their headquarters is in Boston. Yeah, I've never heard of them. I guess it is an American company, but I just what was the other one you said?
Shoppers Drug Mart,
Shoppers
London
Drug
Drug.
Mart. See that to me sounds Canadian in a way like how and please don't take offense to this, but how like Matt Parker and Trey Stone portray like Canadians. It's a
Yeah.
very did I confuse their names? Matt Stone
No,
and Trey Parker. Matt Parker. Which one is it? I don't know. South Park.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this looks like CVS but Canadian.
Uh-huh. And there's,
Um,
I think London Drugs would be the third biggest
yeah,
one here.
yeah. This Shoppers Drug Mart is Canadian. It's like thoroughly Canadian. They're based in Toronto. Okay, sorry.
I never know
Um,
with music either, like because we have like Canadian content laws and things. So on the radio, they're required to play a certain percentage of Canadian content. So something that we hear a lot is not necessarily something that's popular, even though we do have a lot of overlap and have a lot of American music. I never know if things are going the other way as
right.
much.
Eldest said you're making up words. And the Jedpool says honestly, Canada has better cell service too. Um, fair. Better money. Like I mean, there's so many upgrades. Better
Yeah.
better Slurpees apparently.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because we were just in the U.S. last week, like I mentioned, and the 7-Eleven Slurpees are just awful compared to Canadian Slurpees.
I can't get over it. It has rocked my world, honestly, to learn that because I like Slurpees and I get my Slurpees from 7-Eleven and I like them. And I know you said that they're kind of like foamy and weird, but I kind of like that about them. So like I don't know, like I need to go to Canada and try a Canadian Slurpee to see. Is it more like a smoothie? Like is it thicker? Like what?
No,
It's just more consistent.
it's icier, in a way. Instead of being like a weird foam that instantly fills up. I don't even know how to describe it.
Is it more like a blended drink? Is it more like blended ice than like whatever the fuck a smoothie? Because I don't actually know
Yeah,
it.
probably. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay.
I'll have to send pictures next time I have one. I have
Okay.
a lot.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
see if I can Google just like Canadian Slurpee. I don't know. Canadian Slurpee, unlike Canadian Slurpee does not contain yucca extract. Okay, that's fine. Which gives it the airy consistency that American Slurpees are known for. Oh no, that's Australia. No, Canadian. Wait. Why is Australia in here? Hold on. I was like trying to speed read this. I'm gonna look at pictures. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just laughing at just this in general. So I'm gonna pull this over here really quick and put us here so we can see. I'm just Googling images of Slurpees right now. So like this is what I'm picturing. I know it's hard to I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you're looking at my stream.
I'm
Um
seeing it, but it's like blurry for me. I can check.
okay. I don't know how to like enlarge this image. Um but it looks more like I said, like blended ice, where it's like um ice that's been put in a blender with a syrup
Hmm.
rather than the US Slurpees, which I think this one's a pretty good example of uh it's like foamy. And this article actually oh no, it's just brain freeze science. I know what you mean, and do think that like the American Slurpees are foamier. So like I agree
And
with that.
and you can't mix flavors as well with the American ones, because it shoots it with such like pressure that it like mixes it. Because you put some Coke in the bottom and you want to add some orange on top or something, and it just goes. It's all like mixed together.
Mm,
But the Canadian one, you could layer all the different flavors.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one because I think the foaminess of it allows for them to keep like to stay separate because they're denser. I don't know. I know you're saying they shoot out fast, but I just think maybe you were doing it wrong.
It could be.
You can do it slow. Like, you don't have to, like, full blast it.
Mm.
Anyway, I mean, I'm kind of out of board game stuff to talk about. I guess Cass's question, I don't know if Cass is still here, came back. Yeah, user error. So we talked about your favorite board games. Which one of your games was more fun to develop? It was another question. I guess it was kind of like a two-parter. What was most fun to develop and what was the most tedious? And how frequently do you run into difficulties? Hello, Darth Bane. Hello, hello.
Let's see. I don't know if I could call
I forgot
any
I
of
could
them
mute myself.
super tedious. Skyrise was tricky in a way that we kind of hit the wall at one point. Me and Gavin did a playthrough video that's on the Skyrise Kickstarter page. It's on YouTube. It's like an hour long where we play a game and talk about the development process and the manufacturing process and all that. And I think a lot of people really liked it. It'd be a good thing for us to do for all our games, really. But at one point, we talked about how we kind of just set it aside for like a year almost, because it wasn't quite there. And we were kind of bashing our heads against the wall a little bit. And it wasn't getting it to the point that we needed to get to. But then when we brought it back off the shelf, nearly a year later, it just clicked and we had new ideas and new inspiration, and we were able to get it that last little bit of the way there.
Nice.
Yeah, so probably Skyrise being the most tedious, even though it was still awesome.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah, for sure. It's worth that extra time. You can never have too many playtests. You can tinker too long. You can definitely just keep adding things too much, but it's always good to get more data and playtests. As far as like ones that were easy to do, Poetry Slam comes to mind probably because I had brought that out to my playtesting group that I was mentioning early on, that we playtested games every week. I was going to a convention in Salt Lake City because one of my other games was a finalist for an award there. So I went down there and won the award with the game, so it was awesome. I didn't really know anyone there, but I had brought my prototypes, and I had developed Poetry Slam, what would become Poetry Slam, like 2 weeks prior to the convention. Just like as a core idea, you're losing letters, you're coming up with this little rhyming couplet. And so I had put together a prototype right before the convention and brought it there, and I pitched the game that won the contest and Poetry Slam to Mayday Games, who ended up signing both of them.
Very cool.
At that convention. Those were like two of my first signed games. And so that was a very easy development process. It was nearly done from the start.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
That other game that I'd signed with them, I've signed a couple games that eventually the contract just lapsed and they never got made. So that's disappointing. And those are games that are done or were done that I should go back to and either put them in front of Gavin and see if it's something Roxley wants to make, or pitch them elsewhere if not.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask if the contract lapses with one company, you technically get the rights to that game back, right? And you can take it somewhere else. You're not, tied down.
Usually it's a fairly short-ish time frame in the if a game has been signed but not produced yet. It's a year or 2 years or something, unless they renew it. But if a game has been produced, then it's usually they have it for at least 5 years, often, sometimes 10 years. So even if a game is signed and manufactured and made, I would get the rights back. I may have the rights back for Head of Household at this point, and I could pitch it elsewhere if I wanted to. I would probably go back to Foxmind and see if they first, but
right.
Yeah, if there was demand, I have the rights again for that game.
Cool. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much today.
Good. I hear you want to do this with some other board game personalities and people you have connections to. I think that'd be awesome.
I think so. Why not? I mean, it would be really cool to get Gavin on here, if he'd be interested. Obviously, I'd love to talk to Manny. Uh, I mean, clearly, I can talk to Rick. You know, has a lot of connections also, and games that he's already had ideas where he's like, oh, I could come on and talk about this game, and we can tell their production company, or tell the makers of this game that, hey, like, we're gonna kind of like I did with Santorini the first time with Rick, where we just played the game on stream and talked about the Kickstarter. I think it was the launch day. I think it was launch day of Kickstarter that we did that stream. So definitely more of that. I'm thinking about turning my Tuesday slot into board game specific days. I've also been really interested in doing board game reviews, because I mean, I think you've seen my collection. I'm not sure if I've ever sent you a picture of it. Where I have, if I did a board game a week, I would have 2 years worth of content if I was doing reviews or learn to plays, or I'd love to do like a 5-minute learn to play and then like a review of the game.
Great.
For all the games I already own, I think it'd be really cool. My major hang up is marketing and like TikTok's really big. To get a following from TikTok and actually like break into the internet board game community, if that makes sense, because a lot of my streaming I've been focused on gaming and just chatting and just hanging out, so it's kind of a content flip for me, but it's something I'm interested in.
I feel like I'm too old for TikTok. I've never had it.
Yeah, I'm right there, you know what I mean? I'm like one of the things I also struggle with is making something that I'm passionate about into work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know my old username, and because I think it was my username on Discord for a while, and on Instagram and on Twitch was Lynn Creates, because I wanted to do my art on stream, and I wanted to make that my content. And once I started producing art, not for myself, but for, like, I was doing commissions and I was trying to make content with it, it became a chore, and I stopped creating because it was just like, I don't want to work today. So that's one of my fears with starting that up with board gaming, where I'll be too focused on actual creation. And this is just a personal thing. This is just me complaining about myself. But just like, once it's a chore, I don't want to do it anymore, basically.
Yeah.
So,
I said a pretty similar thing there with my own designs. I don't want to. Finding it really hard to design games in the evening, even though it's still a passion of mine and still something I really want to be able to do, but kicking my ass to be able to do it, it's tough sometimes.
right. Yeah, pushing through that, is not easy.
Yep.
I actually just got back into playing video games for myself. I had this like weird mental block where, like, if I was playing a video game, it was like, why am I not streaming this? And I still have the same problem with Hades, because I started playing Hades and I've been really enjoying it. And I have this urge. It's like this little monster in my brain saying, like, someone needs to witness you playing this. I'll be like playing it, and I'll be doing like, I'll be having a really good run, and I'm just sitting on my couch and I'm like, why is nobody watching me right now? Like, people need to see this.
You're wasting this content.
Yes, I'm like wasting my time when I'm enjoying myself. And thankfully I kind of got over that with Hades, and I am really enjoying myself with that game. But it's turned into me like showing my husband, like, here, watch me play, and I'm like on the couch and witness me. Yes, hi early. But yes, that's how I feel when I play any game now. I'm just like, I just need to hit that. So Viscola says, you think we're not watching you? Yikes.
Yeah, I love Hades too. I just checked. I've got 130 hours in it now. Nearly done everything. But
nice. Great. Yeah. I think if you were one of the people who I was talking to about Hades that made me want to get it. I think BR was talking about it too. I think my chat here all knows BR. Adam also knows BR. Um, he kind of talked me into it also, and one of my friend's wives I know has put hundreds of hours into it also. So I was like, it must be a good game. Like I've heard nothing but good things about it. So
What's your most played game by like Steam hours, or if it's not Steam,
let
whatever
me
hours?
look actually at my Steam hours. Hold on, my Steam shit popped up for a second. Is there a way to see like oh,
I think so, but
to actually, if I had to guess, okay, let me see.
okay, yeah. In the library tab,
Okay.
when there's an all games section and sort by, you can go hours
Uh
played.
Wait. um
Well, you look at yours. Mine is definitely Monster Train. It's a
Monster Train.
roguelike deck building game that I played 1,111 hours of Monster Train, which is crazy
Sort by recently
for that type of game specifically.
Sort by recent activity. What, how do I do this? What am I looking for?
Maybe I'll send you a screenshot
Um
Discord.
Maybe, because I don't know why I'm not seeing that or why I can't do that. Oh, all games sort by. Okay, sorry, I found it.
Yeah,
Found it.
got it.
Hours played. Hours played. Raft is my number one with 154 hours. Second is Graveyard Keeper. Third, and surprisingly, is Super Animal Royale, which is a battle royale, really cute top-down shooter. Next is Paladins, which 100 with 104, which is a surprise to me.
I guess my 1,100 hours in Monster Train, once you convert it to American hours, it's more like 800 hours.
American hours. Okay. All right. I think most surprising to me is in my top 6 that I have 73 hours on Destiny, and I just started playing Destiny this year. So I think that is surprising to me. Also surprised I have 52 hours in Goose Goose Duck. Not sure how. Drake Finney had actually brought up getting you on an episode of Goose Goose Talk with us. I think I might have mentioned this to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know if you're familiar with Goose Goose Duck. It's like Among Us, but you play as like little geese instead.
I haven't played it, but I'm a little familiar with it.
Yes. Yes, got to be hours spent in Goose Goose Talk. So yeah, last time we were playing, if we didn't have enough players to actually play a game of Goose Goose Duck, you can go into the lounge and just like stand around as your little goose self, and we call it Goose Goose Talk. There is a Canada goose, yes, the
Ooh.
Canadian. That's really funny. But yeah, the Canadian goose auto reports the body as soon as they're killed. I don't know what that says about Canadians, but
Yeah, I'd play sometime. If I can't this week because it's our final Kickstarter day, and
yes.
we're doing going for beers afterwards after it ends at noon. And
Very
then
fun.
I think I have a poker night
Celebrate.
after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're not playing this Friday anyway because Eldest and I are both going to be in Georgia. But I think I'll still be in Georgia the week after that. So probably won't be for a couple weeks, but I'll keep you updated if you ever want to pop in for our community. We do community games on Fridays. Yes, I will be visiting Kay. I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really like, I've never looked at my like actual Steam hours. I've only ever looked at them when I've played a game, you know what I mean, when I'm like on the library page. And yeah, there's some games that I should probably put some more time into. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how few hours I've played on some things that I thought I played a whole bunch of.
Yeah, me too. And I'm wondering if it has something to do with, because I have had games where I've uninstalled them and reinstalled them, and I've wondered if that's has anything to do.
I don't think it resets your number. like Civ 5. I don't
Okay.
have installed right now, and I've got 187 hours.
I'm wondering if I have let me see if I can do this really quick. Oh, this isn't gonna work. I wanted to look at like how many hours I have in The Sims because that's just my Steam library, and so there are like other things in other launchers that I've probably played for a lot longer than I've played Raft. But Raft is one of my favorite games. I do really like survival games, but I've put a lot of hours in The Sims. And that does not. Okay, so my most played game ever is Animal Crossing New Horizons because I have over like 1,000 hours or something on it. Unfortunately, it's not represented anywhere because I had a Switch. I had a Switch, and then I got a Switch Lite, and I played it on my Switch Lite, and then I got a regular Switch again. So if I combine the total of all the hours from those three devices, I think it would be easily be over 1,000 hours.
Yeah, I've definitely played certain games like that, like Into the Breach, 200 hours on Steam, and then probably more on my iPad, different things. I tend to like roguelike games and things that I can just like do a run or half a run and just like walk away. Um,
Yeah, I've really been enjoying that about Hades because like I typically, I get sucked into games like Stardew and Animal Crossing where there's like really no end to what you can do. Like you can just keep finding things to do. Um and it doesn't stop. Yeah.
yeah,
It's probably why I have almost 120 hours in Graveyard Keeper and I still haven't beat the game. I definitely have more than that too because I have Graveyard Keeper on my Switch as well. And it was one of those things where I started a new game but and then I was like, oh no, like there's I don't have any of my things unlocked, abilities unlocked. There's like a skill tree, and when I started a new game, I didn't have anything unlocked, and then um I was like, I like it's unplayable. Like I have to like work back up through all this stuff. So I went back to my PC version, and I'm just like so far ahead that I have no idea what I'm doing, and I don't know how everything works anymore. And I'm like, okay, there's like no in between here. I've got to commit to something. So
yeah,
I started over. Yeah. What other games do you like? I was really happy when you had mentioned Overcooked when you were talking about Santorini uh, Riddles of the Sphinx
yeah.
because that's a fun game.
That is great. I've got a bunch of. So when I upgraded this computer to my current one, I took my old one and put it out in the living room by my TV and got a bunch of Xbox controllers so I could host couch games and have people over and play those kind of games with people. So then I bought a whole bunch of couch games, got a projector for the backyard so we can have a fire and project it up on the side of the garage and play games outside around the fire. That's been
Nice.
awesome.
That sounds like a lot of
My
fun.
my favorite couch game recently, if you haven't played Boomerang Foo, you should try that.
Mm-mm. Looking it up.
It's incredibly cute and just amazing, super polished
Oh, I closed.
gameplay
I
also.
closed Steam.
Your little foods running around with boomerangs, trying to chop each other in half. And you get little items and upgrades.
Oh my god, it's adorable.
It's so, so fun.
Yeah, that looks like fun. We've been playing Gang Beasts a lot. Have you ever played Gang Beasts?
Yeah, that's like it's kind of like big pudgy wrestling guys, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
like kicking each other or tossing each other around.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to control, or it used to
Yes.
be.
The ragdoll mechanics.
Yeah.
I didn't know Ty the Tasmanian Tiger was on Steam. When I looked up Boomerang Fu, this game came up, and it was one of my favorite games on GameCube. And whenever I talk about it, no one's ever heard of it. And I'm so
Never
glad it
heard.
actually exists. Yeah, it's Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, and it's very much like your kind of Crash Bandicoot kind of adventure game where you're running around, you're trying to collect the wallabies and fight bosses and do stuff like that.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm glad it wasn't one of those like fever dream memory things. Yeah. AJ said they love Gang Beasts, and her and her husband get competitive. And I went to a party recently, actually, a birthday party at like a cabin in Wisconsin, and we were having like an okay time. I was having a good time, but like I don't drink, so I don't really like party. So I was like just chilling, and then people came in. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna play Gang Beasts," and immediately I was like, "Get me a controller right now. We're doing this. We're throwing down."
Have you ever played a game called Heave Ho?
Yes,
I like
because
that
Evo
too.
is it's Devolver, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love Devolver. They have so many fun games.
Hmm.
And their booth at East was crazy.
Oh yeah.
I got to meet some of the devs for Cult of the Lamb, and they were all really cool. A lot of fun. Sorry, I'm snacking. I'm really hungry, actually.
I hope this has been a fun time.
I've had a great time.
Informative and fun. Or
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah, I think we covered everything I wanted to cover board game wise about Santorini. I think I've kind of been on the fence about backing it, but at this point I'm like, why not? One of the reasons I'm on the fence too is because every time I go to I mean, definitely not this game. I don't expect that for this game, but like I would say 60% of the Roxley games that I own have been gifted to me from Roxley.
Hmm.
So like I'm like, do I even spend money on this, or do I just like wait and hope that they just give it to me? But yeah, no, like super grateful. Like I've gotten so many like awesome games just from, volunteering for you guys and being at the cons and stuff. I think the first like full game I was ever just like handed was Steampunk Rally Fusion.
Hmm.
And I think that was at PAX East last year. Not this last PAX, but the one before that.
Yeah.
And I think it was Gavin, actually. Or was Gavin there? I feel like Gavin just like handed me this game. Or maybe it was Manny. I think it was Manny. Just like handed me this game and was like, "Here you go." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, we had some copies. You want it?" And I was like, "Of course I want it." Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's nice to be able to give something to your volunteers who are working so hard. Like board game margins can be pretty tight and stuff, so it's not always a huge money proposition to be going to a convention and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
can't always pay everyone, but we're lucky to have really good communities that are willing to help out and teach
Mhm.
our game, things like that. So yeah,
But
if we can ever give people a little something at the end, at least, that's nice.
um yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of Roxley and Dice Throne and going to these conventions is the community, is just being able to get together with people who share a common interest and are equally passionate about it. Has been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I've been going to more of the PAXs recently. Kind of at times being the only Roxley representative, the only one in a Roxley jersey, and everyone else is Dice Throne. But lots of the volunteers helping out with Radlands and the demos and stuff too has been awesome. And you and Eldest helping. Eldest especially doing Skyrise pitch for like a bunch of hours on the last day. She was so enthusiastic
Amazing.
into it. It's awesome.
We had a lot of fun because I wore my Roxley shirt that day.
Mhm.
So Eldest was pitching Skyrise while I was pitching Radlands, and I don't know where you were. I guess you just quit.
I had a
You were
nap.
like, "I'm done." Oh, you went to nap. Good, 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 good.
Yeah, I said I've been getting better at following the schedule, like doing my 6 hours and being like, I'm out. I'm going to go get an Italian ice and lay down.
Those Italian ices were really good.
They were.
I grabbed one of the days, and it was a mistake because it was huge.
Hmm.
Mm.
You need it. You're shouting through a mask. You have to like project more, especially with a mask on, and you're talking for so long, pitching these games. You're
Not
just
me. They give me a microphone. They give me a microphone. I don't know. You need a strong arm Waltman into getting an extra microphone, I think.
he's offered it before, and I'm always like, I'm fine.
You should do
Whatever.
it just once. It's great. It's really great. I love it. But that's just me.
Yeah, but I guess I was saying I've been going to more PAXs recently, so it's been great to, even though I'm sometimes the only Roxley person, it's been great getting to know like you and the other members of the team, um, getting to hang out, uh, play games, and just get to know everyone else around there. It's been awesome. Great
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, and I was talking to Manny about it actually. We were like out at a dinner, and it was me, Manny, Cow, and HT, and I just like I've been doing conventions for Dice Throne for I'm gonna say like 20, like right after season 2 came out for Dice Throne. I don't know if you know exactly when that was, but
Yeah.
it was like 2018, 2019. So I think 2019 was the first convention I went to. uh it might have been, no, it was not 20, it might have been South 2020, because it might have been early 2020 before like COVID and everything. um but that doesn't sound right. I think it was 2019.
That's probably it.
Yeah. Because I met Waltman because I was playing in Dice Throne tournaments at Gen Con. And he was like, "Are you going to PAX South?" And I was like, "I sure can." Because it was the second South I ever went to, I think. Because I went to PAX South the year before to meet all my streamer friends, and that was great. Had a lot of fun. But I was like, "Yeah, I'll go down there again just to do board game stuff." And that's how it started. And then I think it was PAX East after that nobody who usually does the pitch table showed up. And I was like, I'll do it. Give me the mic. And so I pitched the whole weekend, all day, all 4 days, and loved every second of it. And that was amazing. But like back in those days, this is kind of where I was going with this. Back in those days, I was like getting my own hotel room, and I was traveling, doing all my own travel and doing all my own like stuff on the side, and just kind of like showing up. There were some conventions where even like, especially like Gen Con, they don't get a lot of exhibitor badges. So it's like I kind of have to like fund myself to go to those. And as a volunteer, like I'm happy to do it, And that's what I was talking to Manny about. We were having this conversation, and I think it was PAX Unplugged, the last PAX Unplugged in December, where I actually felt like I had lost all my imposter syndrome. So like up until that point, I was like so starstruck by everybody, and just like the incredible team that everybody is. And like, I'm rambling, I'm so sorry.
I like it. I'm listening.
Like trying to get to the point of like it was, having this conversation with Manny, like whatever like just inkling of imposter syndrome I had left was like completely gone. Because up until that point, I just kind of felt like I was hanging around and I was tagging along, and I like these were people that I wanted to get close to, and like I wanted to call them my friends, and I felt like I was just kind of like, trying to like elbow my way in to be like, "Hey guys, like, I want to be a part of the team. Let's go, like hire me," stuff like that. But yeah, no, it got to a point where I was having a conversation and with Manny that I felt like I shouldn't have been a part of. Like the way like Manny and HT were talking, they were talking business, and I was like, I shouldn't be here. Like this information is not for me. But they don't feel that way, and it was really nice to finally feel like these are my friends. And even like I obviously like we have a professional relationship, but I feel like we're friends. You know what I mean? Like you're someone who, when we're all together and we're all, hanging out at dinners and stuff, like it's nice to be able to like be cool,
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And
End of rant.
yeah. I'm quiet and shy and all that too, so I don't integrate into group super fast.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. It takes a while to become friends with people.
Yeah.
Me, so.
I think we spent all of PAX Unplugged not talking to each other. And then the last day it was like, "Oh yeah, have you been at the booth the whole time?" Eldest is laughing at me. Yeah, no, I remember how shy you were because um I like thought I had recognized you from Gen Con, right? So we were at PAX Unplugged and we're at the booth and you were doing Skyrise the whole time. And I just was like, okay. Like, I think, are you in this picture? Like, there's a picture of like a group of us. And it's like, I don't even remember you being there. Um, but
Like the
then,
group picture at the end?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Let me see. You probably are. I believe it. It's funny because I don't remember you being there. And then it's like, okay, the last night we do family dinner and all finally get to hang out. Uh, and I think that's when we finally actually had a conversation.
Hmm. I totally get the imposter syndrome thing as well, feeling like you're, why am I here kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, with that convention I went to last week, it's the Gathering of Friends. It's an exclusive industry event that's like 400 people or something like that, invite only, and you have to be nominated by someone else in the industry and be seconded by someone else. It was like years that I wanted to get into this thing, and I've gone for the last 2 years now, and it's so cool being part of the in group. But I at the same time, I don't like exclusive things.
Right. Because I had told Gavin, I was like, it sounds hoity-toity, and he said it's not so much anymore, which is good to hear. But yeah, it's just the way it sounds outside looking in, like it's so exclusive and so, and to call it Gathering of Friends too is just like, oh, this is a whole thing. But yeah, no, I did find the picture, because this was unplugged, I think. Um, and I kind of have to zoom in. This is kind of the goofy one, but it's like there I am on this end, and then you're on the completely like opposite side of this family photo here. Oh, it's not focusing. Gavin's making an awesome face in this. I'm really, and this one's on the Facebook, so I don't mind sharing it. This is real good. I like this a lot.
Yeah, would you buy a board game from this man?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your orange boy. I'm sorry. It's like, who, Gavin? So stupid. Okay. Well, I have about an hour left of my time, and I feel like the last half hour has been some nonsense. But I'm just trying to gauge how you feel. If you want to just like keep hanging out for an hour, I'm down. But if you've got places to be and things to do, don't
Yeah.
let me hold you.
No, I'll hang out for a bit. Um, yeah, I'm up for chatting. We could play Santorini on BGA if you wanted.
I'm
But
afraid to play you at Santorini because I heard that you were kicking kids' butts at the last one.
I've started playing on BGA a little bit, and my ELO, your player rating, goes up and down depending on beating.
Did yours go down?
No, I'm on a meteoric rise.
Oh, nice. Yes, Eldest says I believe in you. I don't know. I'd be scared. No, I'm too afraid. If someone else wants to challenge you, I will let them. But it's just like
I,
I've never played Dice Throne against Manny.
hmm,
I refuse.
you destroy me.
Yeah.
I will take a bathroom break though, and I'll
Okay.
be back in a minute.
Cool. Sounds good. I'm too shy. You're right. I am far too shy. Um I'm so shy. I can't. No, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play Santorini. I'm trying to think of what other games I can get Adam to play. We can get into Goose Goose Talk right now. Or he said he has Overcooked. I think that would be fun. Okay. I wouldn't call it awful. It looks very ergonomic, looks very comfortable. That is a great chair. It might be a little old, but it looks very comfortable. What else does he have on his shelf? It looks like Terraforming Mars. It looks like Arkham on top of that. I'm gonna see if I'm right. Are those books on the bottom? Those are big books. Oh, from the 1900s. Yeah, Eldest is a chair snob all of a sudden. Well, I know Eldest doesn't let Drake sit in her gaming chair. I know nobody's allowed to sit in the white chair except for Eldest and sisters. I've seen the sisters sit in the chair, but I haven't seen. I think Dad's not allowed in the chair. I'm gonna tell Adam you called it a grandpa chair the second he gets back. I feel like we should probably play Santorini. I just don't. My brain is not there today for that. He's a grandpa.
I heard you making fun of my chair a little bit.
Yeah, apparently the second you leave, everyone in chat's gonna talk shit about you, and by everyone I mean Eldest.
But yes, I bought a chair for comfort. Just like a lazy boy style thing here.
That's what I said.
Turned 40 next week, so I am.
Happy early birthday.
Guy.
Is it May 6th?
3rd.
Damn. Oh, I should have remembered that because my birthday's on the 3rd. I know we've talked about this. I don't know why I had the 6th at top. It's fine. I was wrong. Sorry, I don't know your birthday. I do now.
It's all right. I always had a superpower as a kid, especially of remembering people's birthdays. Like, even when I was long out of elementary school, I could remember like all these classmates that I hardly remember the names of. Like, yeah, that birthday.
That's wild. Oh, Char's birthday is the 6th. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, our friend Charvana, her birthday's on the 6th. So that might have been it.
Yeah, back there I don't have much for board games. All my games are down in the basement in my games room. This is just.
I was like squinting and I was looking. So it looks like Terraforming Mars, and the one above that looks like the Arkham.
It's a Santorini box, but it has a little sticker on it because I was doing a game in the Santorini world called Streets of Santorini that may become a thing eventually.
Ooh,
but
fun.
Probably not a Santorini related thing, but it's kind of like a backgammon.
Okay.
Uses backgammon as its core, but building and jumping, and Santorini meets backgammon.
I've actually never played backgammon.
Oh.
It's an old man game.
It's a good old man game, yeah.
With your old man chair and your old man self.
And that Terraforming Mars is actually Santorini stuff in the box. As a game designer, I've got a lot of old boxes with other stuff in them and stuff. So
who else did that? Somebody did that at PAX where they had Early says backgammon's legit, and Skolo said he's never played backgammon either. They brought Heat. Was it HT who brought Heat? The racing one, but it was just in a different box.
Yeah. Save a little space.
I mean, whatever works.
Yep.
Yeah. Backgammon's legit. Is backgammon on TTS?
Probably. Or it's probably on VGA at least. I'm sure it's on TTS also.
I think it's on TTS. I think it's on because you have I know TTS has Go and